Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along once again to One Hub Racing for the P1 tier. We are here for the final round of the season in Silverstone. It is none other than the British Grand Prix, one of the most famous circuits in Formula 1. The first ever Formula 1 race, of course, being held here, and we have a classic championship finale here in Silverstone. We could see J. Cole crowned champion for the second consecutive season. It was the P2 tier season last season. It's the P1 tier this season. But nevertheless, it could be two in a row for the Ferrari man. I am joined alongside for the final time this season. Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to this, what could be a cracking season finale and season decider, title decider, whatever you want to spin it. It's going to be one of those things, and I can think of worse tracks to be out for that. This is going to be a sensational week of One Hub Racing action, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, this should be an absolute cracker. We have just got qualifying underway. You can see the McLaren and the Mercedes exiting the garage. I do apologise if I sound a little bit weird. My throat is sort of non-existent, let's say, so it might not be your usual screamy, shouty commentary, but nevertheless, let's take a look at the on-track action. We do have ERT Nipro and ERT Jinx exiting the pit lane. ERT Jinx joined, or ET8 Jinx, apologies, joined alongside ERT Andretti this week. That's a new name. I'm not sure if it's someone who's just changed their PSN, but certainly a new name. Samba and Marvin Muir have joined the lobby as well. Marvin Muir's not had that good luck really here in One Hub Racing so far, but he's hoping to pick up some good luck here this evening. And then, of course, ERT Samba is technically fighting for the championship. He is third place in the championship, a point behind Namsco, who won't be joining us this evening, but he is 9 points off the championship lead of J. Cole, and he has just disconnected right on cue.
Well, that's a very great start for any championship credentials, but luckily this is only qualifying and not the race, so I'm sure he'll be back shortly. But in the meantime, just having a look around to see who's preparing for a quick lap. There's quite a few drivers now on track, so that's always good to see in the first few moments of the final qualifying session of the season. It's been a fast season, but it's been very, very well battled through most of it, and I'm pretty honoured to have called it this season, and it's been quite a ride for some of these drivers, but we're not done yet. We have many turns and twists in the tail, I'm sure, to come in the race. And wonder if the weather is going to be one of those as well.
Yeah, the weather could certainly be a contributing factor here. Of course, well, we both know all too well what the weather is like in this part of the world. As Jinx gets his qualifying underway, heading through turn number 1 of Abbey, through 2 of Farm, and in towards turn number 3. No name on this one, but it's the first real braking zone of the circuit. Will be the first of many overtaking opportunities. Heading through turn number 4 and 5, the arena section, and on towards the Wellington Straight. There will definitely be a few overtakes in towards turn number 6 of Brooklands, of course. One of the more famous ones was Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas back in 2018, and then there was a little bit of a battle between Verstappen and Hamilton through there in 2021, but I think everyone kind of remembers the one that happened a little bit later in the lap. And that corner coming up now is heading through Woodcut, flat corner in modern day Formula 1 cars. In towards Copse Corner of turn number 9 comes Jinx. It is a very tricky corner, but a beautiful one, and that's certainly a good one for the spectator and all the fans in the grandstands on the left hand side. Maggots in towards Beckett's, and then in towards Chapel Curve. It's a flick round to the right and then a kink into the left. That is Chapel Curve, which brings you onto the longest straight on the calendar, on the circuit, 770 metres. The Hangar Straight leaves you at Stowe Corner, right hander. You want to rotate the car in 6th gear. That's too much rotation in 6th gear. And that is Jinx, unfortunately, spinning round. Owen Wyatt is out of the session. He is serving an engine penalty here this evening, so he will not be taking part in qualifying. Neither, I believe, is Lakitu. He will be retiring in the garage. Nipro will get the first valid lap on the board. He'll get a valid lap on the board. It won't be a quick one. He's spun across the start-finish line. Next across the line will be Marvin Muir. However, he is only starting a lap. Same with Andretti. Ratatouille will get another competitive time on the board, nevertheless, as he will be heading round through the Vale chicane and in towards Club. Running out across the line, it will be pole position for Ryder Dahl. Was very quick in Montreal last week. Here comes the championship leader, J. Cole. He's going to go to second position, very close to the man currently on pole. It will be the AlphaTauri of Timo who crossed the line next. He's only starting a run. Spy then goes to third position. It'll be ERT Larkin then who comes round. He hasn't validated this lap, so he'll be going on a second attempt. OP Tim will be next across the line for Alpine. Let's see where he goes. He goes to the top, actually. 1:26.898. That's a very nice lap for OP Tim.
That is. Will it be OP for anyone else to catch, or is that just a marker for later on in the session? It's a fantastic effort so far, and I'm just seeing who else is on it. His teammate is just going around through the old pit lane entry and the old configuration of the track, so that's always something to look at. And Henry is in the actual new pit lane configuration, and just seeing if anyone's about to be closest finishing a lap. I think Andretti is coming through Maggots and Beckett's and into Chapel. I think he's on a lap, so I'm going to stay on board with the McLaren driver, as Taz calls him, player 3. So that's something to look out for.
Enjoy your Taz penalty, Andretti.
Both McLarens have got a Taz penalty, by the way, by the look of it.
Who else has?
Both McLarens, so that's...
Oh, fantastic. Well, nevertheless, here comes Andretti then round the final corner. Let's see, will this go towards the top? Just like Mario, he's put himself in a high position. He's in 4th position. It's not a bad lap overall from Andretti, but he would like quicker. Let's take a look at Timo, then he heads through Vale, as Marvin Muir, I believe, has just gone to second for Haas. That's an excellent lap for Marvin. ERT Larkin heading through that Vale chicane and in towards Club. Let's see what the Ferrari can do. He's got to spin it. He's not the first man to spin it through there. He's going to reverse across the line. We did see Nipro, I believe, spin through that corner. Larkin does spin. He's 4 seconds off the pace. It's unfortunate for Larkin. Let's see what the Confessor can produce here in Silverstone. The Red Bullman. 1 race win this season, 1 pole this season. Both coming at the Sakir International Circuit. Let's see. Is it going to be another? It's going to be P3. It's not a bad lap. Red Bull locking out the second row as Lakitu retires from qualifying. That is to serve his mandatory engine penalty.
Yep, and having a little bit of issue with Samba. He's now back in the lobby, but he's not on the track. He's had a big spin, and I don't know what's going on with him. I'm going to stop watching him now, because I think I might be breaking the end of physics by staying on board with him. But Timo is on track, but I think he's coming back in to do an in-lap. So I think at the moment all the action that we need to see is stopped for the moment, as everyone's going to be resetting and getting some new tyres, possibly reducing their fuel load and going again very shortly. But let me just have a look. I think, yes, of course, Spy in the Mercedes also has incorrect TAS usage, so that's another one. And Henry in the Alfa Romeo, who I think just joined the lobby. Or has he been there the whole time?
He has been there the whole time, but he went out on track and I believe he broke his front wing, because I did see that Alfa Romeo coming back to the pits without a front wing. But he is in the pit lane now, no time on the board for either of the Alfa Romeos. Of course, Lakitu serving his second engine penalty of the season. You have to serve one, everyone has served one then after that. So those two just getting their penalties out of the way. The Confessor and Larkin coming back to the pits. Nipro is back out on track. We're seeing a few more people out on track now. Ryder Dahl has come out for a second attempt, and I believe it's going to be Jinx and Nipro who are out. Oh, Samba. Nathan Samba has actually spun out of the pit lane, I believe. He's in the gravel trap right on the exit of the pits, and he's on an outlap, which would make me believe it was a spin for Samba. Oh no, hold on a second. He's just ended up back in the wall.
What's going on there?
I think we might have some internet issues for Samba. Or he has broken physics, and that's 2 people who have broken physics today, but I definitely think Nathan Samba is having a few issues. Let's jump to Nipro then. Nipro, we saw, was the second man to get across the line in qualifying. Of course, it was a spin for Jinx. He spun himself across the line, so he just wants to be a little bit careful on the traction heading through Club, but in towards turn number 3 and in towards turn number 4 of the arena section, or the loop, it's also commonly known as that is. Samba gone to third. He was in the wall a second ago, so I think Samba might be having some internet issues. Matthew, I'm not sure if the same is happening on your screen, but certainly for me, he is just reversing in and out of the wall.
Yes, I was on board him a little bit ago as well, and he just seemed to be going round and round at the pit exit. But yeah, he's done a lap of 27.2, which is not bad in reverse. But I don't know what's happening there. There is issues, but we've got to believe that he's gone to P3, and he's just doing the same loop again, reversing, hitting the wall, taking it a few meters, and back, rinse, and repeat as he corrects from the spin, but whatever happens, that's
he's got
not
going.
great.
I think he's got going. Certainly on the little track map on the bottom right, the Aston Martin has moved position, but not about that from Samba for someone who hasn't seemingly left the gravel trap.
Well,
Looking at Nipro then, heading in towards Stowe. This is a better attempt for Nipro. We'll see if he can navigate the final sector a little bit better in his Mercedes W13. Braking for that veiled chicane. We could see some dive bombs into here, of course. Certainly when we had smaller Formula 1 cars, there was more overtakes into there, but these bigger ones don't really promote it. Heading for the final corner, he's kept it in a straight line now. No positional improvement, unfortunately, for Nipro, but he has improved by 0.237.
Well, it's always good to improve, and Tim is back on track again and has improved through Sector 1 by 77 thousandths of a second, so he's looking to go even quicker on this time around as he comes through Beckett's and Chapel, and he's a tenth up this time, so he should be going a little bit quicker, but will he be quick enough to seal, I should say, provisional pole position? But he's coming into the final corner round about now as he hits the brakes nicely on the apex, cuts the beam there, and he's about to go round the final corner, and there you go, improvement to 26.7.
Yeah, great lap that from Tim. Samba's having quite literally a bit of a dance in the gravel trap. It seems as Henry has run off the circuit when starting his run. Samba has now left the session. That's an improvement for Ryder Dahl, who's gone to second position. Excellent run from him. We'll see what the Confessor can produce, or is the Confessor just starting a run? He is just starting a run. Andretti as well is about to start a run as J. Cole heads round the final corner to also start a run. So we will take a look on board with the Ferrari. 1:27.411 is the time so far with the current championship leader, who has a lead of 9 points over the other competitors. He's a lead of 8 points over Lamsco, but it is 9 points over Samba, who is the only other real championship rival here today.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, and I've noticed that Samba has dropped all the way down to P11 on the timing screens as well, so I don't know what's gone on there. He was third a moment ago, but now he's down to 11th maybe. He's had the time deleted for you going the wrong way around the track, I don't know, but whatever happens, I'm sure he'll be back again to try. And yeah, it's I was looking to see if Timo, he's only 4 points behind Samba, if he's in championship contender, but he's not, because if he wins and no one else scores above him, he still wouldn't have enough points to overhaul J. Cole. So unfortunately, he's hit form a little bit too late in the season. He's had a bit of a mixed bag. He's got a few podiums in there, but he's also had a DNF in round 1 of the season. So I'm not sure if that's going to come back to haunt him, or if it was lost in the mid-season when everyone was trying to win and he just wasn't getting anywhere over 7th or 8th. But I'm sure he'll give it his all tonight, as I'm sure all the drivers out there will. It's always fascinating to see strategies play out on the final race of the season, see if anyone does something that they might not necessarily do in the mid-season, to see if they can do something that might make them feel good about themselves, or just switch it up and see if they can put down a marker for potential next season.
Yeah, J. Cole had a wobble on his last sector of his lap. He was improving by 0.2 of a second, but he made a mistake and lost all his time. Andretti has improved to 4th position. We're waiting to see an improvement for Marvin Muir as he heads through turn. We have another laggy driver. It seems to be the PC end that's being a little bit affected this evening. Jinx has started another run as well. Larkin heading through Copse Corner with 4 minutes and 35 to go. We await and see what the Ferrari can do. Heading through Maggots, through Beckett's, in towards Chapel Curve. Is Larkin still pushing? It's a little bit on the slower side, but it'll be a... No, he's not pushing. He has backed off, so no improvement on this occasion for Larkin. And a validation for ETA Jinx as well. I believe that's all the improvements for the minute here in qualifying. Let's take a look at Marvin Muir. He's the only one currently on a fast lap, or a improving lap, and he's also just glitched into the pit wall and now the circuit. So a bit of an unconventional lap maybe for Marvin Muir, but he's certainly still going steady, and we'll wait to see the time at the end of it.
Yeah, we'll wait to see the time, but I think everyone's that was on track is now going into change their wheels and take out all the fuel they possibly can for their final run of the session, which is coming up very shortly here. in the P1 tier, Royal Hub Racing, but Marvin Muir into the pits after that unorthodox line that we saw. But again, I think that's just a PEC issue with the crossplay not cooperating with all the drivers in the grid. Is Samba back in yet? I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen him come back yet.
I don't think he is.
Going to be a shame if Toddle's decided by default. But anyhow, issues happen, and I hope we see a great race regardless, but for the meantime, all the drivers are in the pits, just talking things over with their engineers, just saying, how shall I nail this pole position?
Yeah, all drivers in the pits with 3 minutes to go here in Silverstone. The second on the side of RAF Silverstone, a former World War II Royal Air Force bomber station, of course. We might see some dive bombs in towards turn number 3, and certainly in towards the Vale chicane, and maybe even Copses. I think the Swede of Ryder Dahl is going to get on-track action back underway. Someone else has pulled out of their pits as well. I think that's an Alfa Romeo. Believe it's Henry. It is Henry, indeed, who'll get on-track action underway as he passes the Aston Martin Cognizant safety car to get on-track action back once again. Henry, no lap on the board. As of now, he'll be looking to get a lap in. Provisional pole setter OP Tim is back out on circuit as well. It's currently an OP 1-2 with Tim and Marvin Muir on the front row here in Silverstone.
Yep, that certainly could be the case, but things can always change, and things usually do change here in the final couple of minutes of the qualifying session, especially around this track. You never know when the car in front of you is about to invalidate. You could benefit off his toe perhaps and grab a couple of tenths that you might not necessarily have in the tank anyhow, but it's just a question of how you prepare your tyres and do everything you need to do, as the I nearly said Renault, the Alpine has decided he wants to be in front of the train to have the first crack at defending his pole position, but he could also be giving up the toe to the cars behind, which could cost him in the end. But he's got a tenth over Marvin Muir, who's about a quarter of a sector behind him on the track. So it's going to be interesting to see how they all stack up in a few moments' time. We have 1 minute and 10 seconds plus whatever lap time they're about to embark upon.
Well, I do have some unfortunate news, and Nathan Samba does not believe he's going to be able to get back in this race. I mean, the championship would be decided by default for J. Cole, which is oh so unfortunate. But nevertheless, let's keep an eye on qualifying, as it's going to be the provisional poleman who's the first out to set his final run of the session. OP Tim heading through Abbey down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, brakes for turn number 3, downshifts to 4th gear, high rotation gear through this section. You want the ultimate traction out of the corner, so you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of straight line speed maybe. Short shifting up the gears, heading through here. And OP Tim heading down the Wellington straight in towards turn number 6 and 7. This is Brooklands that he faces first, and then Luffield, the right-hander. Might see some cars going around the outside here in the race if we are very lucky. But decent for there for OP Tim. He's hooking up this Silverstone track nicely. Cut a little bit there on the inside as you're heading up towards 8th gear on the entrance of Copse Corner. You'll downshift to 7th, rotate the car anyway for that little green patch on the inside of the curb. That's a real turn-in point, and what you are aiming for. Damon Hill used to have a trick where he'd see that curb on the left-hand side, count to 3 and just flick the car in and hope it sticks. But the one-time world champion, it certainly worked a few times for him, set a few good quick laps around here. Speaking of quick laps, Tim is improving by a tenth of a second in the Alpine, heading down towards Stowe. The long right-hander, mistakes very easy at this corner. That is a mistake at this corner. Very lucky not to invalidate his Tim. He's going to continue this lap on. He'll have gained a bit of time because of that, and flicking through the Vale chicane and in towards the final corner of Club. Is Tim going to improve his time on pole? He is going to improve his time on pole. Next challenger across the line is Ryder Dow. He is not going to be able to make the front row of the grid. Next across the line is Henry. Let's see what Henry can do. No, he's retired from the session as he's got across the line. The Confessor will follow. Here comes the Confessor across the line. He's going to go to 3rd position here. That's an extra lap from the Confessor. Timo then as well, he's heading across the line. Can Timo go up with his teammate? No, he cannot. The two Ferraris then. J. Cole, championship leader, will go to 5th position. Larkin will only stay 9th. There's Marvin Muir, takes pole right at the death of the section. Andretti in 5th position. Believe we're going to see the Mercedes Aspire across the line. He's put in some improvements as well in this sector. It's only going to be 8th position. Jinx across the line now. He will get a proper lap on the board. But Marvin Muir takes pole, I believe, here in Silverstone.
Yep, Marvin Muir had a fantastic lap there in the closing dying embers of the session, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of race we're in for now. Just checking the TAS, I think we're due for a cloudy race, but there's very low chance of rain expected. But of course, this is Silverstone and the F1 game. Those things are always subject to change. Safety cars could well play a part in that as well, because safety cars do breed safety cars, which would slow the race down a lot. But here is the actual qualifying order.
It is Marvin Muir, the Lebanese man, who starts on pole position for the British Grand Prix, and it is then Tim, the Confessor, Rydal, Andretti, Jinx, J. Cole, Timo, Spy, Larkin, Nipro, Samba, Owen Wyatt, Lakitu, and Henry, who rounds out qualifying here for the British Grand Prix. I'm going to hand it back over to Matthew, so he can run you through our fantastic One Hub Racing partners and sponsors.
Yes, for the final time this season in One Hub Racing, our wonderful sponsors and partners are Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing prizes, and Pure Sim Gear, who sponsor the league by providing a new product not launched yet to the driver with the most podiums. And we have Gamergoo, who sponsor the league by providing Gamergoo samples to their trophy winners, and ASSETTO Sim Sports sponsor the league by providing a multitude of prizes with different ways to win them. For example, the driver with the most fastest laps wins a set of Forte pedals, and the driver with the shortest combined qualifying time wins a set of Forte pedals and boots. And our partners are Vespertine, who support our official apparel, and ERT, of course, partner the ERT Go and Get Stuff Award and the league trophies. And our final partner is SimGrid. We are powered by SimGrid, run our season through their community, use their platform, their website. It has all the stats that we look at for championship standings, who's not going to be there on a certain race, who's going to miss future races, and we can see everything and all the standings of where they all finished throughout the season in one hub place to be. And of course, we have the Tasman, who gives us the information on the condition of the cars. And that is the sponsors and partners, and thank you to all the staff that work them in the background while we do this live racing.
Yeah, thanks of course to all our fantastic One Hub Racing staff. Seasons like this, quite frankly, don't happen without them, and the work Luke and Jess and all has put in has been quite unbelievable. We head to the grid then in Silverstone. Believe we do have the formation lap. Yes, we do have the formation lap. So 5.891 kilometres for this formation lap, 3.661 miles, 18 corners, with a lap record of a 1:27.097 by a quite unpopular man here in Silverstone, Mr. Max Verstappen. Tyre choice then for this Grand Prix. Marvin Muir on the hard tyres. He's often gone for a harder compound to start his races. Tim on the mediums. The Confessor has gone for the softs, and he's almost gone for a bit of a spin. Good catch from the Confessor. His teammate Rydal has gone for the same choice. Andretti has gone for the mediums. Jinx has gone for the softs. J. Cole on the mediums, as well as Timo, Spy, Larkin, Nipro, Samba, Owen Wyatt on the softs, Lakitu on the mediums, and Henry on the mediums as well. Very interesting strategies here in Silverstone, a circuit with a lot of history. The first use of a turbo engine was here at the British Grand Prix in 1977 by Jean-Pierre Jabouille. My French is not very good, so I've probably butchered that. I did study it for 3 years, for those who are interested, but unfortunately my vocabulary now consists of Alpine, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Paris Saint-Germain, and Paul Ricard, but I'm going to hope that's the last little waffle I go on today. But back to the actual racing action. A very mixed strategy here. Marvin Muir, quite controversially, the only man on the hards.
Yes, it's not the best tyre to be starting the Grand Prix with. It's not great at the best of times, but with the heavier carloads, he could well be in for a whole world of trouble to get them up to the correct temperatures. But if anyone in the steer can do it, Marvin Muir seems to be the one to do that. But he usually asks me who's going to win from anywhere.
Matthew, who's going to win in Silverstone?
Yes, I was about to throw it back to you just to see how you like it, but no, I think
I don't like it, that's why I ask it every week.
Yeah. I think I will choose. Sorry in advance. Lakitu's going to win tonight.
So Lakitu will be out by lap number 1 if proceedings continue like usual here in Silverstone, but OP Tim and Marvin Muir lining us on the grid for the final time in One Hub Racing Season 22. What a season it's been. What a finale we're in for. The championship may be all but decided, as unfortunately Nathan Samba is not going to get back with us Henry lines us up on the grid. He's last into the box here on the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight in Silverstone. 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we go racing here in the United Kingdom. Really good start for Tim on the inside. He's already alongside Marvin Muir heading through Abbey. The medium tyres have a much better initial launch. That's Andretti who's gone wide. That's Jinx who's picked up a bit of damage. He's collided with one of the Ferraris. It looks like it might actually be a championship leader, J. Cole, who he has gone nose to tail with, spinning the midfield. That is Nipro as Marvin Muir fighting for his life, quite frankly, with Ryder Dahl. The hard tyres have not up the temperature, and the soft tyres on Ryder Dahl are much better, and the Confessor as well. He's looking to try and gain some positions on Marvin Muir. He's looking to try and follow suit to what his teammate Ryder Dahl did. Andretti and Larkin side by side. These guys are both in the mediums. We've seen Ferraris get oh so close to McLarens. I think both the Ferraris actually did avoid a bit of damage. I think it was only the McLaren that picked up some of that front wing damage, but we can check the TAS in a moment as Timo right behind the Confessor as well. The mediums are up to temperature. Timo is up 3 positions here in the opening lap, but it is OP Tim who leads here in Silverstone.
Yeah, that was quite a frenetic opening, basically.
Oh, Tim off the circuit. He's right off the circuit, and this could be Ryder Dahl, who is going to try and get the launch here into Woodstow corner. Up the inside, the man on the softs, the Swede will lead here in Silverstone. Up the inside goes the Red Bull Racing Man. There's no real defence from Tim. He just didn't have the straight line speed heading in towards the Vale chicane. Is he going to dive it down the inside? No, there's no option there. And Marvin Muir is going to try capitalise off this battle. He's actually did very well to keep in 3rd position and keep the Confessor behind, but Red Bull lead the opening lap here in Silverstone. OP Tim is going to try and attack as Ryder Dahl now has a 4/10 of a second gap in front. Timo in 5th position. He's up 3, but your biggest gainers on the opening lap, it is Matthew's man, it's Lakitu, and it is Owen Wyatt, who are both of 5 positions. Your biggest losser actually was J. Cole, so he did pick up a bit of front wing damage, and the championship leader is currently out of the points paying positions.
Yes, I'm sure he won't be too fussed with that at this stage of the race. There's still a long way still to go, but it's interesting how J. Cole has stopped. I didn't see any damage, so maybe he just thought tactically he's going to switch up the strategy a little bit, assuming there might be a safety car with some contact and stuff, but Spy has gone up into B12 as Sambra's AI car is going to struggle to do anything today. Unfortunately, that is not Sambra in the car, so unfortunately any small chance that he had of overhauling the deficit is now gone, unfortunately. But it's still going to be a way to J. Cole to drive through the field and celebrate his championship in style, perhaps. But you have to wonder what would have been, or what could have happened that Samba had a little bit more luck in the mid-season and possibly not missed a race here or there. Perhaps it could have been a lot closer for him, but these things do happen sometimes, and Namsko might be a little bit gutted that he's missing as well.
He actually popped a message in the chat. He said, "Good luck to everyone. Unfortunately, my internet gave up." Well, Nathan, we thank you very much for all your efforts this season. That Portuguese Grand Prix drive is certainly one that will be looked back in the One From history books as a very, very impressive performance. Jinx into the pits for a set of mediums. There was no front wing change, so that is definitely tactical. With J. Cole as well, I did not see any front wing damage on our TAS telemetry system, but maybe that didn't just update or something. But he is on a set of the mediums now, is J. Cole, and both Jinx and J. Cole only have one more mandatory pit stop, where everyone else does have 2. J. Cole did have wing damage. Okay, he did have wing damage. We definitely thought we saw something on the opening lap, but it is confirmed now. The Confessor not able to utilise these softs. I have to say, Marvin Muir's pace very impressive at this stage in the Grand Prix. He's only did 2 laps on them, so they're certainly not worn in yet, but compared to the mediums and the softs around him, he's did an excellent job. But Ryder Dahl still holding firm at the top on those set of softs. The mediums will become much quicker very, very soon. It'll be an early pit stop for Ryder Dahl, the Confessor, and Owen Wyatt, but of course you have to make 2 of them, so you may as well utilise these set of softs while you can. Presumably will be soft medium for Ryder Dahl, might be medium soft for Tim. Marvin Muir, he could try hard, soft maybe. It's a very interesting strategy for Marvin Muir, but I'm sure the pole sitter will figure it out. Owen Wyatt right in the back of Larkin. No mistake so far from Owen Wyatt. He's having a good race.
Yes, and the last time we said that, we remember exactly what happened. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to look at it for Marvin Muir. He's on a hard tyre, but of course he got all the options in the world to look at later on in the race. He could go hard and then medium and then soft, or as you say, hard double soft, which would really annoy me as a strategist. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if anyone can make it work, Marvin can. But yeah, I would expect to see a large majority of people trying the overcut rather than the undercut, but you never know exactly who might be brave enough to catch everyone off guard and get a killer outlap, which is really the key to making the undercut or overcut work, as J. Cole sets the fastest lap of the race. But who's going to appear first out of the top four? I wonder. It might be the Confessor, you know. I think he might try something. I think he's going to do the opposite of his teammate, perhaps. I mean, obviously, if his teammate goes in, he won't be double boxing, but that is possibly for the next time around. I wouldn't expect to see them pit on this lap, as Nipro gets a 3-second penalty for track limit infringements.
The Confessor has really tried some interesting strategies, I suppose is the word, in the last few weeks. In Belgium and Canada, he was close to puncture territory. Got a puncture in Belgium, of course, but he certainly was close. In Canada, Ryder dives into the pit lane. He was under a mountain of pressure from OP Tim, so Ryder is going to get a fresh set of boots on, and he is going to try an undercut on Tim to gain a bit of time over him in this Grand Prix. Tim will be going longer. Bit of a lag spike, believe, from Marvin Muir there. I do hope he doesn't disconnect. But overall, not really settled into this one, have these guys. There's a bit of a DRS train developing, which hopefully we don't get for too long, because DRS trains are quite frankly boring. J. Cole has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so he'll be picking up the fastest lap point for outside of the top 10 as of right now, which would help him sealing an almost already sealed championship.
Yeah, you have to think that that's definitely some way to go for this race to liven up a little bit. I think everyone's still trying to settle into the rhythm a little bit, as we all know, the track limits can be very, very unforgiving. But I'm just looking at the sky again. It seems to be maybe a little bit darker, but I don't think there's any threat of rain imminently. But of course, I've been wrong before about that, and that is definitely some sort of lag spike there again with I don't know what the issue was, but I think it's a crossplay issue. But unfortunately that happened, but I don't think any damage has been done to the drivers. But the Confessor is under all sorts of pressure from Timo behind him, and of course Confessor's tyres will be struggling to cope with the excessive G-force and there you go, into the pits to change them.
Yeah, Owen White's in the pits as well. He was attacking Larkin. Owen White into the pit lane, so it's mediums for all of the top 10 now, apart from Marvin Muir, of course, as Timo says the fast lap of the Grand Prix. He's got an opportunity to stretch his legs. It's a very dull day here in Silverstone, which rain definitely can happen at. Of course, in 2008, Lewis Hamilton won by 68 seconds to take his first of 7 wins in Silverstone in some very wet conditions. Not the only dominant win here in Silverstone. Jackie Stewart lapped everyone in 1969, and yes, everyone, including second place. Owen White comes out of the pits. He's going to be well behind the 2 Red Bulls of Ryder and the Confessor. Ryder ahead of the Confessor, as Owen White's actually pinned it out of the pits. He's pinned it. Owen White into the wall, out of the pit lane. Similar to the position where we saw Nathan Samba have some issues in qualifying, but Owen White is just sat there, unfortunately.
I think he's just dumbfounded as to what's happened as he's come out of the pits again, and it's probably just lit up the rears or something a little bit too soon, and now he's
been disqualified.
In a dangerous position. Perhaps that was... I wouldn't say that was part of the plan there, but things happen that you can't always legislate for, but unfortunately that is... I don't know if that was a mistake from Owen Wyatt or whatever, but unfortunately he's unreliable. He's out of the race anyway, is what I would try to say. Unfortunately for him, it's always a pleasure to see him do well in races, but I feel like every time we praise him, he's just a corner away from a mistake. But let's get back to the action, as Larkin is up into P5, and he's going to be under some pressure very shortly from Henry. Yeah,
it's not a similar season finale to the one he had last season. Owen White, of course, won the P2 finale last season in the Sakir International Circuit, but it wasn't to be here today, as Ryder Dahl sets the fastest lap so far in this Grand Prix, a 1:30.146.
Yeah, certainly. In stark contrast to his dominance of the end of last season. As you say, it was quite a good drive for Iron White that day, but just couldn't captify? I've just made up a new word. Excellent. He just couldn't capitalise on that.
Not the first time a commentator in this tier this season's made up their own words, and it hasn't been you for the rest of them.
Well, you know, I mean, I had to make a team effort, you know. I had to pull up my end of the slack. Anyhow, the point I was trying to make was I was hoping, I'm sure he was hoping as well, for a stronger season after the strong end he had to last season, but he just never materialised, did it really, unfortunately for him.
It's died down a little bit here in Silverstone, but certainly the strategical race has not died down. They might all be running around in unison, but strategy you always must be thinking of here in One Hub Racing. Closest on-track battle is actually Henry and Larkin. Henry's had a decent recovery drive so far. He is 0.5 of a second away from the other Ferrari-powered car of the Ferrari, as Marvin Muir still holding strong in second. Actually, he's keeping in the DRS of Tim, so keep an eye on Marvin Muir when he goes to a set of quicker boots.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just checking on Lakitu's progress as well, as he's just behind his teammate, and if he can stay in the DRS window, perhaps he could do a little bit of chicanery and perhaps overtake his teammate and maybe lock in as well. They're all on the same tyre, so it's going to be about who can find the correct points upon their throttle inputs and see who can stay off the curbs the most and see who can utilise their top speed the best. And at the moment, Larkin is handling everything that the two Alfa Romeos behind him are trying to throw at him. But of course, there's still a long way to go, and we're only 8 laps into this one, and I feel like something big is going to happen later on in this race. But for now, we are pretty much as we started here in One Hub Racing.
Yeah, something big almost happened. As you were saying that, there was a real little wobble from OP Tim. I do apologise for the voice crack, by the way, in case you haven't told. Evan's voice is not really working today, and we are... I suppose it's about as good as Samba's internet, maybe. But Tim had a bit of a wobble heading through Stowe Corner, and now the gap is 4.5 of a second. Tim is starting to struggle a little bit on these tyres. Is this a sign of some medium tyre degradation? Matthew, I'm not sure if you did drive in the P3 tier earlier, but if you did, what is usually the tyre deg? Hold on that thought. Henry has unfortunately spun round through the arena. But back to the question, what was the tyre degradation like? Is there a lot of tyre wear around here?
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible if you have any slide at all. And of course, if you happen to slightly be off as you put the accelerator down your inner barrier and your wheel is likely coming off, as what's happened to me slightly before half distance, which was annoying, but it's pretty much how my season's gone down in the P3 tier. But yeah, anyway, there's a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2.
Oh, there is. It's for Nipro, who's gone round, and Nipro has fallen to... Well, he's up into 10th, but he's fallen to 10th. Bit of a spin for Nipro. He's one of the ones who has not pit yet. Marvin Muir tucking into the slipstream of the race leader. Is there going to be a dive here towards Stowe Corner? There is not. Another wobble for Tim through there. I would imagine we will see the Alpine pit pretty soon. He certainly doesn't look to be comfortable. We'll start to see a lot of pit stops soon, because of course you do need to leave yourself time to utilise both your 3 tyre stints. Spy and Henry both into the pit lane.
And Henry a little bit too quickly for his own lunking, as he's picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that will hurt him later on.
It will certainly hurt him later on. Let's see what Henry and Spy are going to go for. It's going to be another set of mediums for Spy. What about Henry then? What's he going to opt for? Another set of mediums for Henry as well. So both on to another set of the Pirelli medium compound tyres. Timo tucking into the slipstream of Marvin Muir. Thought he might have tried to move. Ryder Dahl is definitely ahead of these guys. So is the Confessor. The Confessor is actually looking to overtake Nipro fairly soon. We saw Nipro have a spin, and he's run wide here through turn number 3. He's got to head in towards the arena, and the Confessor's really going to have a shot of an overtake down in towards Brooklands. The Confessor, no, he's not! Oh, that is pure, that is really, really good. That is an unbelievable save from the Confessor. I couldn't quite have a classic Evan scream because, well, You wouldn't hear me for the next 16 or so laps, but that is an unbelievable piece of driving from the Confessor. Was so lucky not to spin, and quite frankly, that is probably on the level of Verstappen in Interlagos in 2016. We have a leader change. Marvin Muir has gone really outside in towards Stowe Corner, and the hard tyres are certainly the better option now, as the mediums have started to fall off. We saw some mistakes from Tim. He falls to second. The Lebaneseman leads here in Silverstone.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move there for Marvin Muir. He's been putting the pressure on for the last couple of laps or so. And I was wondering if it was just Tim struggling, but his teammate Timo also seems to be struggling as well, as he can't quite capitalise upon that a small error there from Tim. So both of the Alpines are in a little bit of issues with their tyres, but Nipro is having issues sticking to track limits, and Andretti in P4 is just keeping round and just doing his thing. And Ryderdal is now up into 5th as Larkin and Lakitu both pit.
Larkin and Lakitu both into the pit lane. I have to say the Red Bulls are flying here. Ryderdal and the Confessor, 22 seconds separates Ryderdal and Andretti. That is enough for Ryderdal to be in front. It's a very long pit lane here in Silverstone. He's going to have to give it his absolute best, but lap 11 out of 26 here. No virtual safety cars to safety cars yet, actually. That's surprising enough, but we've not really had many over the course of a season.
No, we haven't really had many, and I think we only had, one over in P3, and guess who caused that one?
Was it you, Matthew?
It was me, yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The aforementioned incident I mentioned earlier, but I'm just keeping an eye on where Andretti comes out, as he's now in with a 5-second penalty for speeding. That's not going well for him.
Another one. Everyone seems to get a little bit confused with the pit line in Silverstone. We always see a lot of 5-second time penalties. We're running through the penalty count now, folks. It is 5 for Andretti, 9 for Nipro, 3 for Timo, and 8 for Henry. Was there a bit of a spin somewhere? There absolutely was. It was the man who we just mentioned. Henry, unfortunately, facing the wrong way. That's not what he wants here in this race, as Andretti's actually gone for the hard tyres. That's a very peculiar choice.
That's, yeah, I mean, it could work out for him, but I'm not going to question anything just yet. But that certainly wouldn't be the tyre that I would have fitted on lap 12 of a race, but unless there was a safety car and you did 2 stops and fought hard to the end, that's possibly doable, but that's very strange, but perhaps he'll be laughing later. But anyway, Jinx now has a 3-second time penalty for track infringement, and there's a lot of action going on. I can't keep up. Henry
retires from the British Grand Prix, the final race of the season. It is in the pit lane. He becomes the second car that will not reach the end of lap 26. Tim has kept with Timo. Is he going to attack in towards Stowe? No, he's not. I can see Tim honestly pitting come the end of this lap. It certainly seems like it will be a very good choice. Nope, stays there for the rest. But his teammate Timo has gone in, and he is under the speed. He's activated his pit limiter at the correct time, and Timo is into the pit lane. 0.3 of a second separates Lakitu and Larkin. Can Lakitu maybe capitalise on, I was going to say fresher tyres, but they're on the same lap of tyres. He's going to capitalise on some slipstream here in towards Stowe Corner. Here comes Lakitu, the Alfa Romeo, up the inside of Larkin. Grass is green. Lakitu is through. Excellent move for Lakitu, and it was as simple as that terrible analogy, but the Alfa Romeo is through. What tyres has Timo gone for? He's gone for the mediums. Will the Confessor get out in front as Nipro has retired from the Grand Prix into the pit lane? The Confessor is going to get through on Timo. Timo just out of pit exit. He will have much better tyres than the Red Bullman, so I imagine Timo will be attacking pretty soon. But once Tim and Marvin Muir dive into the pit lane, Ryderdal will definitely take the race lead. But the gap has actually extended a little bit almost between Tim and Ryderdal. It's been an excellent stint from Tim and Marvin Muir.
Yes, it's certainly a fantastic stint, and I thought Tim was struggling, but turns out maybe he wasn't. After all this time, maybe it was part of the plan. But he's certainly still out there, and he's still within the second window to get the DRS, which is keeping him in touching distance of the on-track race leader. But now he's going to bail and go into the pits, and can Ryderdale find some speed? And that's certainly not going to help. There's another speeding in the pit lane penalty.
Oh, it's for Tim.
It reminds me of when Lewis Hamilton did that in real life, but no one gave him a penalty for it because apparently he got the average down. We can't do that here on this game, but I would love to know the explanation for that. I mean, he looked like he went in the Lewis Hamilton looked like he went in the pit lane. I think it was about 3-4 seasons ago now, at about 400 miles an hour. There was a massive lockup mark. You could tell he was too quick, but he didn't get any penalty or anything. So
I remember that actually. That was awfully weird. But Ryderdale, he's well in front here. The undercut has been oh so powerful. What about the Confessor then? No, Tim's got out in front on the softs. Excellent job by OP Tim. He's got out in front on the Pirelli soft compounded tyres, and the Confessor's going to have to attack here. But, of course, he has the temperature in his. Tim does not, but Tim does have the quicker rubber. I think Tim will be okay here. I think the Confessor's going to have to sit behind and try to defend off Tim's teammate, Timo.
Yeah, he's going to be more defending than attacking very shortly, as Tim just does what he needs to do to eke out that advantage of a Confessor, his teammate, and Andretti behind. As, of course, he will need to get as much of a gap as possible. As you just saw, 5 seconds will be served at the next pit stop. So that's definitely going to be key for Tim to get on and perhaps rescue a podium out of this. He's doing good now, but you have Marvin Muir 23 seconds up the road from Ryderdale, so this is definitely a routine drive for Marvin Muir at the moment. Pole Sitter's just doing quite well from the front, but this is some midfield action to certainly keep an eye on as the compounds of tyres switch over. Andretti on the hard now, as we said, could be strange, but he's certainly given himself a lot of options for the rest of this race by doing that, of course. And Lakitu just behind him on the mediums will probably go for another 6 or so laps, and then 6 or 7 perhaps, and then try the softs towards the end. Of course, you want to be quickest at the end. Perhaps you could steal the most valuable fastest lap point. Of course, we have it inside and outside the top 10 here in World Racing, and points all the way down to 12. But unfortunately, 12 is an AI car, so points for 11th today.
Points for 11th today. Of course, there is the fastest lap outside the top 10 point as well. But that will also just go to who's in 11th. Here comes Timo attacking the Confessor. Timo up the inside. Has he got the job done? The Confessor going to try hold around the outside. The Confessor is not going to back out of this one. That is one thing. The Confessor will always scrap for what he believes he's earned. And he's earned P4 here, but Timo just gets the traction. Really, really good stuff between these two. Excellent, excellent racing. Very fair as well, you have to say. There was some excellent standards here. For the whole course of the season, really, it's a bit of a good standard, I suppose you could say. And dropping back a little bit now, Andretti looking to repeat the feat. He's looking to try and get past Lakitu.
Yeah, Lakitu actually just stole a position from Andretti with a great move down the inside. But Andretti will be trying to get back past him, as you were having the fantastic time of what you were seeing with the Confessor, and I was watching Lakitu with a great move of his own. And yeah, the standards have been pretty good this season. Only a few things I've even noticed going towards the stewards in the first place. So pretty clean season, and Ryderdale is in for a clean pit stop, hopefully. And it doesn't look like he's been speeding, so that will help his cause later on.
Ryderdale is in from the pit, or he's in from the very quick second stint. Ryderdale will be looking to go to the end of the race on that set of tyres. There's a bit of a queue building up, and still no first pit stop from Marvin Muir. I'm getting a little bit of a funny feeling Marvin Muir may not know that it is a mandatory 2-stop.
I think he might know, because he's never been caught out with it yet. But of course, being a new driver that's coming into the league, not from the beginning, he's done a few races here, and he missed the week before, of course. But he's managed to do the mandatory 2 stops all the races he has attended, so I think this is just giving him the extra security of potentially the double stop stint. But hopefully you're wrong, but I'm starting to get a very similar feeling as well. Lap 16 has shortly become 17, there we go, and he's still out there on the hard tyres doing a great job. But unfortunately, will it be all ruined by a moment of just getting excited with leading the race for so long? Hopefully not, but that has happened here before in the past in one-hub racing, and I'm sure will continue to happen as long as
Confessor's in.
Yeah.
The Confessor is in, so it is similar strategies for Red Bull. They've obviously worked this one over together, because they have been on identical strategies throughout the course of this race. Tim has the provisional lead once Marvin Muir pits, but of course Marvin Muir has to make 2 pit stops here. He's going to really struggle with that. We are well over halfway here in this race. Still no safety car or virtual safety car. And Tim and Timo currently on course for a 1-2 finish here in Silverstone. That would be something else.
Yes, that would really be something else, and that would be a fantastic result for the team. Well, the Tims, I should say, not the team, but
that was good.
Sorry,
no. That was of a much higher quality to some this season. Matthew, I'll give you your credit. That was I liked that one. That was good.
Thank you very much, and let's hope that we have some more fantastic action here in the final laps, which is less than half distance now, and has been for a few laps. Even then, we're on lap 17 almost, and Marvin Muir is now in the pit, so I think perhaps he has remembered the 2-stop rule, unless he's got mediums now, which could be a little twitchy in about 6 laps time. If he's got medium to softs, that could be twitchy, but of course that's for then, but he's done half of his mandatory 2 stops, and it's such a slow crawl through the pit lane. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Marvin Muir has gone soft, so he is genuinely just trying something different here. I can respect that. The Haas is trying a double stop to the end of the race, so he still is in race winning contention, certainly. Tim is going to get out in front, but Marvin Muir's tyres will be oh so quick compared to everyone else's. Is Marvin Muir going to come out quite crucially in this train behind? He isn't. He's ahead of Lakitu. That could be crucial in this Grand Prix, and he's no penalties as well, does Marvin Muir. He is less than a second behind Timo, so he will get that DRS as well. He will get the drag reduction system. In terms of the championship, as of now, I believe it is still comfortably J. Cole's.
Yes, J. Cole would be... what's that? 2 points for 11th. He'd be 10 points ahead of Namsco if it ends like this. And of course, we know, unfortunately, Samba's internet has decided no championship for you this season. But
yellow flag. That's Spy, who's gone round on the exit of Lovefield towards Woodcut. That is the Mercedes round. I don't think he's going to lose a position from it, but he'll certainly lose a bunch load of time. This will allow the Ryderdal and the Confessor through pretty easy when he does come into the pit, so there'll be no traffic in the form of Spy for them. Unlucky for Spy, who's ran a fairly decent race so far. Marvin Muir 5/10 of a second behind Timo, and he is just knocking on that door to try and overtake for second position. He's certainly on a better strategy, because of course all these guys have to make a second pit stop apart from Ryderdal and the Confessor, so he will be in second position of the guys who have to make a second pit stop, if that makes any sense. So it'll still be in a very good spot if he was able to get past Timo. Spy's picked up a 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. I do hope that's not a second Mercedes retiring from this race. It'll be great to finish with the maximum amount of finishers we can. Through the arena, Marvin Muir runs a wide line to run a tighter line and to get a better exit. He's going to burn some battery and use the DRS that he's earned, and up the inside goes Marvin Muir. The Lebaneseman is into second position here. Timo just going to have to settle for a third, and Marvin Muir will set his sights on OP Tim in front. The Confessor has passed Spy, due to Spy being in the pit lane, of course, and J. Cole will actually get past Spy as well. Has J. Cole, I believe he has actually made his 2 mandatory pit stops. He has. So those who have yet to make the 2 mandatory pit stops are Tim, Marvin Muir, Timo, Lakitu, Andretti, and Larkin. And Samba's AI, of course, hasn't, but Samba's AI won't, because it is an AI. So unfortunately, Samba will be disqualified from this one, but I don't really think it's going to matter much to him, because he is only picking up a point as it is, and it's not the championship win that he would have wanted. But Tim leads as we're about to head on to the 20th lap of the Season 22 British Grand Prix.
Yes, we are finally poised for a fantastic grandstand finish here at Silverstone, and of course I've just noticed that the Alpines are on different strategies in their team. One is on softs, one is on mediums. Marvin Muir in the middle on very fresh softs. He can certainly throw a spanner into the works as well. But of course Lakitu is in P4, of course. He's certainly doing quite a good job from where he started, and of course he'll be pitting in the next couple of laps to finish off his stints, and it's going to be interesting to see how much longer Tim can go on these soft tyres. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the next time around. I don't think he'll be this time around, but you never know. I've been wrong before, but I can't wait to see who wins this race. It's going to be a fascinating end to this race for what was a very slow to get going race. It's certainly heating up now.
It is heating up now. It really is. I really don't know who's going to win this one. That is the interesting thing with strategy here in One Hub Racing. And certainly, if you're enjoying the action, make sure to pop and subscribe on the stream. We've actually gained a subscriber so far this stream, so that is excellent. But make sure to pop a comment as well if you are enjoying the action. It's the final race of the season, and we'd love to see your support on what has been a fabulous season of One Hub Racing. Okay, it's been quite controversial with some outside factors, but nevertheless, the on-track racing has been absolutely excellent. Bahrain, a real standout for me. I felt that battle between the man who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty and Mr. Unnamed was quite impressive, as Tim is into the pits, ladies and gentlemen. I imagine it's going to be another set of the softs.
Yeah, I would imagine they would be at this stage of the race, yeah, but briefly into the lead, of course, you don't have to do that final chicane going like that, and I believe it was Senna who figured out that by going in the pit lane of the track, he could gain potentially a second and set the fastest lap of the race by doing that, because he didn't have to slow down until after the that part of this track. That was quite a genius call there on his part, but yeah, of course, he's going to be out in P7, maybe P8 on the fresh soft tyres, so he's certainly going to be able to do stuff. As Lagito is also out of the pits as well on brand new softs, and when Timo pits will probably be a couple of laps time, we could really see who's going to finish this race the stronger.
Andretti right on the back of Larkin, still both yet to serve their mandatory pit stop. I imagine we will get a flurry of cars in at the end of this lap. Marvin Muir leads here in Silverstone on lap 21 out of 26. A really interesting conclusion heading our way. McLaren of Andretti runs wide. Saying the McLaren of Andretti runs wide, by the way, is such a contradiction, because obviously even in IndyCar, McLaren and Andretti are rivals. It just feels wrong. It really does feel wrong. But nevertheless, ERT Andretti is attacking ERT Larkin. And is he going to go up the inside in towards Stowe Corner? Gaining and gaining and gaining. He's going to go. Late braking manoeuvre for the man of the hard compact tyres. Larkin on the mediums. It's job done for Andretti. That's an excellent move. And they both dive into the pit lane. Very clever move as Larkin. Does he try the Vettel move? Oh, he's hit the back of Andretti into the pit lane. And unfortunately, that's a 5-second time penalty for Andretti, but he'll look to get it removed, I imagine.
Well, I don't know about that one, if he could. I mean, it's, you know, it's a tricky one for me to really call, but it is certainly a pit lane that could use a little bit more work. Maybe raise the speed limit by a couple of miles an hour to maybe 30, I don't know, 37 just seems...
It's very low.
Very, very low, and especially with the length of it as well. It's just, it's... You know, something's not quite right with the pit entry, because these are the best drivers in this league this season, and it's caught 90% of the grid out today. So let's just find out exactly why that is after the race and enjoy these final closing few laps. It's going to be a fantastic battle for the win, and I'm not sure who's going to come out on top, although penalties may of course decide that. Timo has
Tim right the outside of the Confessor. These two battle once here today, and Tim's going to go the long way. That becomes the short way in towards Luffield, and Tim on the much better tyres has got the job done. Ryder Dow is in a very good position here in this Grand Prix to take the race win. Marvin Muir and Timo still have to take a trek through the pit lane. They're both going to do it on this lap. If Ryder Dow can get out in front of them, this could be an excellent end to the season for the Swede, as OP Tim has passed the Confessor. 8.7 to catch for Tim. It would be an unbelievable finish to what's been a sometimes lackluster season for OP Tim if he was to get it done. It'll be the soft tyres, of course, for Timo and for Marvin Muir. At 23 out of 26, we just have 24, 25 and 26 to go. 3 laps of Grand Prix racing, both out of the pit lane. Timo ahead of Marvin Muir here. Ryder Dow goes through, and Ryder Dow retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix. Where are these two going to come out in relation to Tim? Tim flies through Abbey at turn 1. There they are on the exit. There they are on the exit. There goes Tim up the inside of his teammate Timo. It's not going to work, but the two Alpines are still side by side heading through the arena section of the Silverstone circuit. Timo has a wobble on the exit. Tim's going to get the run. It's brilliant battling between the two French automobiles here on the final laps of the season. Tim up the inside of Timo. Timo is going to have to lift off the pedal here and just brake a bit earlier and allow his teammate through on the warmer tyres. He's going to get these up to temperature and fight back surely as Marvin Muir is trying around the outside. The Confessor's involved in this one as well. The Confessor might pick up the pieces as Marvin Muir has a wobble heading through Woodcut. It's not to be for Marvin Muir, and he's going to have to sit just off the podium for the time being, but of course Timo does have that penalty. It's now 8.4 to Ryder Dahl in front. I think Ryder Dahl could be home and dry almost.
Almost, yes, but of course the Confessor will, if he has his way, he's going to make life very difficult for those in front of him. He still has the DRS rear ring activation system, which is a very strange name for it, but anyhow, whatever you want to call it, he still has it. He's in the 1 second window, but it's going to be a fantastic fight. And I was thinking just a few moments ago, if it finishes like this, which of course I don't think it's possible to do that because it might, you know, Roger Dahl could win this race. He could steal P3 of the championship right at the death. But it will be 20 points to him. He'd have exactly 100, and that is 3 more than Samba has currently on 97. So that is, he can
steal P2 as well. It's more than Namsco. Well, of course, Namsco's not here.
Yes, of course. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I just focused on Samba because I know he was here for the start of qualifying. And of
here comes the two Alpines again, though. Timo's going to try around the outside of Tim, and this was going to be much easier. In towards Brooklands for Timo, and in towards Luffield. He's well ahead. That's an excellent move for Timo, who gets past Tim on the fresher tyres. Marvin Muir's going to look to capitalise on this. These guys are going to be side by side into Copse Corner, possibly heading past the old start-finish straight. No, Tim just puts on the afterburner. Much better straight line speed for the Alpine car than the Haas, and he's got the job done on Marvin Muir. Can Marvin fight back? Well, I imagine he certainly can, because he's on good tyres. He's had very good pace today. The Confessor could pick up the pieces here as well. He still has DRS. Here comes Marvin Muir, though, looking to attack Tim. They're both on very low battery percentages, but still pushing to the absolute maximum. Marvin Muir, is he going to try it up the inside of OP Tim? He's going to get a little bit on the curb. He's going to try it on the outside in towards the veiled chicane. Marvin Muir, late on the brakes, hangs around the outside. Oh, that's a splendid overtake from Marvin Muir. He's got it done around the outside on Tim. That is beautiful from the Haasman. That is quite something. He's got the job done. Into P3 goes Marvin Muir. Tim's going to fight it back, heading through Abbey, heading through Farm. Is it going to be up the inside in towards turn number 3? No, he doesn't risk it. The Haas will stay in front. Surely there's going to be a switchback attempt from Tim through the arena section. There you can see him taking the Tyler line, looking to get better straight line speed than Marvin Muir. Here comes Tim. Opens the DRS to the both of them, but Tim is going to look to try and retake P3 here in this Grand Prix, scrapping for every last point on every last lap. Tim up the inside of Marvin Muir. Marvin Muir holds it around the outside, heading it towards Luffield through Brooklands. Marvin Muir takes P3 once again, or keeps P3. Can Tim look up the inside into Copse Corner? He was quick on this straight the last time, not quick enough this time, as there is a yellow flag. That is Jinx, who's gone round, and he's jinxed himself once again. He's actually out of the Grand Prix here in the penultimate lap of the race. It's another position for the champion-elect J. Cole, as we will be starting the final lap soon. That gap's not even come down between Ryder Dahl and Timo. If Ryder Dahl keeps it on the circuit, it's surely his. This is the battle we're watching. This is the battle everyone's interested in. Tim versus Marvin Muir. The two OP lads are having an absolute corker here in Silverstone. Marvin Muir tries to switch back, heading through Stowe Corner. This is the position. He made the move on Tim on the last lap. He's got to do it again. It's double trouble. No, he goes off the circuit this time. Wasn't to be for Marvin Muir. The Confessor all over the back of the Haasman. The Confessor very lucky not run into the back of the Haasman. Tim P3, Marvin Muir P4. The Confessor P5. Apologies. Tim, if he's going to get it, or if he's going to lose this spot to Marvin Muir now, I think it would take something, as Marvin Muir has fallen a bit back after going off the circuit. Lakitu could pick up the pieces here if something goes wrong. But on the last lap of the race, Ryder Dahl has an 8-second lead.
Yes, he certainly does have an 8-second lead, and of course Timo in second place if he was to finish there, which it looks very much like that he might, unless of course penalties change that, which they could, because he's not out of the window yet. I was going to say Timo could finish on exactly 100 points as well for finishing second, but if he drops down to third, then he would lose out on that extra position in the standings. But I don't think he'd be too bothered about that right now. He's just got to hope that Tim holds off Marvin Muir a little bit, just to try and give himself that extra few tenths he might be able to find over the last few corners of the lap. And Ryder is about to hit those last few corners now with that comfortable lead. And Timo is just trying to find all the...
Marvin Muir still attacking Tim. Alright, on the last lap. Can he get the job done? Heading through Stowe Corner. Round the outside goes Marvin Muir for his first one-hub race podium. It's not going to work out. They're still side by side at the apex. Marvin Muir is through, surely. Ryder rounds the final corner. It's a second win of the season and a perfect way to end the championship season for Ryder. He's going to take second in it. Timo's going to come across the line to finish second. Marvin Muir's going to get him on the penalty count. Tim doesn't get him. They were 3 wide across the line. The Confessor 5th, Lakitu 6th, Larkin 8th. J. Cole comes across the line, and for the second time in 2 seasons, he's champion of the world. It is a home winner in Silverstone, a home championship winner here in Silverstone. And Oriel J. Cole, with the start of the season he had, my will he be feeling lucky. It was consistency that brought him this, but J. Cole, it's double trouble. He wins the World Drivers' Championship in the P1 tier.
Yes, that was quite a championship drive from the beginning. It looked like he knew exactly what he needed to do, even notwithstanding the issues that other drivers had, and unfortunately they wouldn't be competing in the race, which is always unfortunate. But again, thank you to Samba for the ferocious effort that he showed in recent weeks to try and claw himself back. He had 2 wins coming into this, so if anyone was going to be in form, it would have been him. But J. Cole, as you say, consistency definitely helps. He's had 4 podiums across the season. He's been very consistent with his finishes as well. He hasn't finished lower than 10th all season, and he's just done what he needed to do every week, which is always the bare minimum, really, is what you expected of a driver. So a very fitting winner, I thought. It would have been a fantastic showdown with Samba or Namsco here, but J. Cole did what he needed to do. But the winner of this race, as you see here, and the rest of the order, is as follows.
Ryder takes the win here in Silverstone. Marvin Muir picks up his first one-hub racing podium. Timo finishes in 3rd. Tim in 4th, with the Confessor in 5th. Lakitu finishes 6th. And the World Drivers' Champion, J. Cole, finishes in 7th. Larkin finishes in 8th. Andretti finishes in 9th. Spy in 10th. Samba and Jinx 11 and 12th. Your non-finishers were ERT Nipro, ERT Henry, and Owen Wyatt. Who's your driver of the day?
I'm going to have to go and pick the driver that secured his very first one-hub racing podium, and that is Marvin Muir. And the question I would like to ask him is, although you didn't quite manage to take it from flag to flag, you must still be pretty happy with your effort this season, considering the amount of time you had to get ready for when you joined.
I think I'm going to have to go for a fairly obvious choice. I'm going to go for Ryder Dahl, who took his 2nd race win of the season. I'm just going to ask him, you went for an alternative strategy. Did you always believe it was going to work and seal you the race win by a comfortable margin, or was there some uncertainties throughout the race? But, well, I can't believe it's the end of the season, because that 10 weeks has gone by as quick as the speed of light, and there's been some ups and downs here in one-hub racing P1 tier, but certainly we've had an absolute cracker of a Grand Prix racing season. Matthew, what's your final thoughts on that one? We've crowned a returning champion, and we have ended off a brilliant season.
Yeah, I can't really ask for much more in the season, really, to watch. It's been fantastic racing, and it's going to be a fantastic season to get going again. Whoever joins you in the box next season is going to be in for a treat. In whatever tier you're in, it's going to be fantastic, because the other tiers have had some great battles as well. But it's not going to be me. I've hanging up my microphone for a bit, but it's been a pleasure to share the box with you these last couple of seasons, and I'm sure whoever is here next season will do a fantastic job as well. I will always be around. I will be watching. I'll be listening, and I may be back someday in the future. But for now, it's farewell.
it has been an absolute pleasure to be alongside you, Matthew. My Friday evenings have never been so exciting, especially here with One Hub Racing. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to leave you with that. Make sure to keep an eye on all our social channels. I'm not too sure if there is an end of season stream. There used to be. I'm not too sure if it's going on, but that's another reason to follow the social channels. They know more than me. But ladies and gentlemen, from myself, Evan, and from Matthew alongside me, thank you very much for joining us here. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you in a short while.